International Publishing Journey with Emanuel Shahaf. Hello to you, Emanuel.
Hello, hello.
A few hours after the last meeting between President Trump and the Netanyahu family, what would be the headline from this meeting?
It's very difficult to say what the headline would be. I have no idea what is being discussed is being reported, or there's two different stories going on at the same time, and we'll be privy only to one of them.
Nobel Prize winning of President Trump?
Yeah, well, that's not likely at the time. I don't see any way that a deal which is staged to take place in 5 different stages is going to succeed. I just don't see that. I don't see that happening. I think whoever planned the 5-stage deal planned it so it can be interrupted and can be fail. It can fail.
Basically, you don't believe that the last initiative of Witkoff would take place?
No, I don't think so. I don't think. I think maybe there's going to be the great switcheroo. They're going to switch it around and make it a one-step deal very early down the road, because either they wanted to do it that way in the first place, or they realize that a 5-stage deal is just not reasonable. But I have no idea. I just have no idea. I don't see a 5-stage deal going through.
So what would be the headline of your report this July 2025?
Games people play. I don't know. I have no idea. It's very difficult to give it a title, because so many things are so unpredictable. Starting with President Trump, then seeing the Netanyahu family coming all together.
Benjamin, Sarah, and
Yair coming all together. I don't
invited. The president invited.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the implications are. The implications may be that Netanyahu will be willing to give up his ridiculous insistence on continuing the war, or else the implications are that Sarah is joining Netanyahu to convince Trump that the war has to continue.
Or maybe these are the real decision makers for the state of Israel.
Yes.
Now it's official.
Yes, that's for sure. They are the real decision makers for Israel. But what they decide, we have no idea of knowing. Okay.
So you think that the chances to create this kind of deal to release all the last remaining 50 hostages from Gaza are very, very
almost nil. Definitely not in this deal, in the 5-stage deal. I just don't see it happening. It's just too complicated.
And a deal that ends the war, on the other hand, Netanyahu might lose his coalition.
Yeah, well, he's close enough to the end of his period of government.
Almost 4 years.
Almost 4 years that he can risk it. Nothing much is going to happen. So there will be the elections maybe a little earlier. But if he finishes the war, he'll get a lot of. I think he'll gain, because the public is completely in support of finishing the war.
So many Israeli soldiers are dying.
Yes. Yesterday, five soldiers were killed.
Do you think that is there any real reason that this war is happening?
Only political reasons. There's no military reason one can think of, other than that as long as it continues, people are going to die on both sides. Okay, so what? What are you going to prove?
So what do you think is going to be happening in Gaza for the next step?
Well, we're going to continue fighting, and we're going to continue losing soldiers and killing Hamas operatives, and we're killing Palestinian civilians. This is going to continue until the war stops, or there's a ceasefire.
And do you think that any solution, deep solution regarding Palestinian state, one-state solution, the Palestinians, is it something that is going to be discussed?
No. I think one of the big reasons that we're still in Gaza is we want to prevent, and we're insisting on not involving the Palestinian Authority is in order to avoid dealing with the Palestinian question at all. This is a great opportunity, just like the war with Iran was to a certain extent. Is, you know, putting all the emphasis on something else, which is a threat, all right, but not the real threat. The real threat is our inability to come to terms with the Palestinian presence in Eretz Israel. Okay, and we paid a very heavy price for that on 7th of October. And instead of that price motivating us to find a solution, it motivated us to look for alternatives, how to not deal with the Palestinian problem.
You're saying all the Palestinians are all Nukhbas, they're all Hamas terrorists. All the 2 million people that are staying in the Gaza, we don't trust them. Israel is not trusting them. So
okay, no, we have to look at it as not emotionally. If you look at it not emotionally, you see that this is a problem we have avoided dealing with, and we got to the 7th of October not because we dealt with it, because going there and mowing the lawn every few months isn't dealing with the problem. We haven't dealt with it, and we continue not to deal with it, and even now we're not dealing with it, and even after the war with Iran, we're not dealing with it. So this is a major flaw, and as long as we're not dealing with it, we're likely to encounter another return of something like the 7th of October from wherever.
And do you think that Israel solved the issue of the nuclear weapon of Iran in Tehran?
No, obviously not. The timing of the attack was completely political.
Which means?
It suited Netanyahu, and it was convenient also from an international point of view. Trump was apparently willing to participate. The International Atomic Energy Commission gave a very negative report on Iran. So it was perfect timing to do the attack, which could have been done earlier, could have been done later. Didn't make much of a difference. But as things happen, instead of solving a problem and being, with a new situation where you solved your problem, you're now in a new situation where we have another problem. The other problem is how to make sure that Iran is not going to develop nuclear weapons, which it has now a really a great incentive to do, okay, and how we can do that, and the likelihood of continuing to attack Iran every once in a while, mowing the lawn in Iran, is something a country shouldn't have to deal with. What did we do if we all we did, we changed the mode of attacking? Instead of attacking once, we're attacking now several times in a row or something, whatever. So,
isn't it that President Trump declared that all the nuclear position weapons and almost bombs were demolished?
Okay, you can declare everything. We can also declare that we did what we did in Gaza and the war is over. Okay.
You think it has nothing to do with reality?
Reality is what happens on the ground. Okay, and reality is that Iran has a big incentive to develop nuclear weapons, the biggest ever. It's likely going to continue, and we're going to have to deal with it.
Do you think that any kind of sweet international deal of the Abraham Accords might happen after, as a part of what is happening, and you had a wonderful and very profound service with countries that might be part of this accord?
As long as Gaza is not resolved, and not only resolved now with regard to a ceasefire or a finishing of the war, but resolved clearly that what's happening with the population of Gaza, and as long as there's no future or no clear future or no clear vision what's going to happen with the Palestinians in the West Bank, I don't think there's going to be any movement on the Abraham Accords front.
What kind of vision do you offer nowadays, you, Emanuel Shahaf?
The only vision I can think of is the complete opposite of what's happening. Okay, instead of throwing the Palestinians to the dogs, and this is literally what we're doing, even inside Israel now. Okay, with what's happening with trying to get Ayman Uda out of the Knesset is a clear example of how we intend to deal with the
We, you mean the Israeli government?
The Israeli government, yeah. The only way we can have a better future is to do it jointly with the Palestinians who live in Eretz Israel. And the only possibility to do that is in a one-state solution. Okay, in a one-state solution, in the federal, it may sound a little crazy, but first of all, it's very close to the situation we have right now. Right now we have it by force, by the power of force. We are the sovereign in the whole of Eretz Israel. Okay, so in order to organize that and make this into a one-state solution, we have to sit down and work on it. Okay, but that's the only way to get out of this problem. And I hope that the situation is bad enough already now for enough people to realize that we have to go that way, so that will also become apparent in the political picture in Israel, that maybe some political parties will pick up on the federal solution, on a one-state solution, they may actually mention the word.
Do you think that you're feeling any presence of the Israeli opposition?
No, absolutely. The opposition is just as bad as the coalition, and there's very little free thinking. I think politicians are very scared.
That's what would happen?
Well, the only thing they are scared of is the public. They think that if they come up with something which is revolutionary, the public may not like it. Okay, but usually what happens is that the public is much more advanced in their thinking than the politicians are. So we need a courageous politician who will try the waters. Okay, but I don't see him or her at this time.
What do you think about the Israeli Supreme Court? What decision is going to be made?
Fighting a real, a war to defend its power. I think it's a losing war the way it looks now, because unless things we go to elections very soon, I think the legal revolution that the government is planning will succeed to some extent.
It will succeed.
We already see that the change of the judges has impacted on the decision of the Supreme Court. So the fact that we have more conservative judges, just like in the United States,
exactly,
where the conservative judges have changed the picture completely, in Israel they also have, to some extent, and that will continue.
So basically, the democracy as we knew it in the United States and also in Israel, it becomes a complete new ball game.
It's a new ball game. It's a new ball game, absolutely.
Would you like your children and grandchildren to continue be living in a state like the state Israel is becoming?
I want them to have the possibility to decide for themselves. That's what I want.
And if they will come and will ask you, hey Emanuel, you've been around so many years with books and lectures and service in the Israeli Mossad and all the other forces, what is your recommendation? What would you tell them?
I'll let them decide and say what makes them happy. I'll give them the picture the way I see it, but I won't try to influence
And if they will
them.
tell you, Emanuel, we would love to try ourselves in Germany, in Europe, in New Zealand.
Fine, absolutely. I don't know whether I would have repeated my decision to come to Israel when I was 18.
From Germany.
From Germany, if I would have known what's going to be down the road, or if the situation would be like it is now, definitely. So
because you are seeing the wonderful dream of the Eretz Israel, Medinat Israel, what is happening?
It's completely deteriorated. It has to be in something which looks like, I don't want to, where you're looking for comparisons and they're not good. Okay, none of the comparisons you can think of are not good. Okay, are any good? None of them. Okay.
As always, some good news that you would like to share towards the end of the monthly interview.
I hope our book, the book from Tas Abu Sada and me about the federation, joint sovereignty, will hit the market before the end of the year. I don't know whether it's going to happen yet, but we're working on it.
Emanuel Shahaf and Tayseer Abu-Sada, that you're writing a book together about the solution.
Shared sovereignty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everyone has the same rights.
Yep. That's the only way to continue here, in a state where everybody has the same rights.
And do you think that the state of Israel will continue to exist in a solution like this?
Yeah, of course it will. It will only continue to exist in a solution like this. If it will not go to that solution, it will become a travesty. It will become an authoritarian apartheid regime.
People that want to be part of your international publishing journey, that want to be part of the books, of the lectures, how can they reach you?
Federation Movement, or the Quest for Israel's Future. Identity, the Quest for Israel's Future, or Emanuel Shahaf on Facebook.
Emanuel Shahaf, I want to thank you so much for sharing your ideas in this monthly report, which is, to say the least, uneasy.
Uneasy, yes.
Thank you so much.